People love to debate whether 9mm or .45 automatic Colt pistol is the king of self-defense pistol calibers. But flying under the radar is a lineup of serious contenders that bring more punch, flatter trajectories, and downright impressive performance specs, leaving the usual choices looking pretty tame. Ever asked yourself if there's a round that brings magnum muscle without forcing you to grip something the size of a brick? If so, you're in for a ride, because today we're diving into 10 overlooked calibers that outclass your typical 9mm or .45 auto when it comes to raw stopping power. Some of these rounds crack the 2,000 feet per second mark. Others throw down with energy levels that rival the .44 Magnum, all while working in familiar handguns like the Glock Model 21, the classic 1911, or the FN509. We're talking blazing fast performers like the 9x25 Dillon, the 450 SMC that kicks like a mule, the 960 Rowland that laughs at P+ loads, and the 460 Rowland that turns your pistol into a legitimate backwoods sidearm. Fair warning, though you won't see any hand cannon behemoths like the .45 Winchester Magnum or the .475 Wildey Magnum here. Those beasts require oversized frames and paws to match. Everything we cover fits into a standard size semi-auto grip, no circus-sized hands necessary. 9x20, 3 Winchester. You almost never hear folks talk about 9x23 Winchester anymore, even though this hot rod of a cartridge can match or even outdo the performance of a .357 Magnum from a semi-auto. Winchester introduced it back in the 1990s as a stretched, high-pressure evolution of the 9mm. The casing measures 1.160 inches and is loaded to a jaw-dropping 55,000 pounds per square inch, same pressure as a .223 Remington rifle round. That gives it Magnum-class impact in a flat shooting package. Factory loads can launch a 124-grain soft point at around 1,460 feet per second, delivering roughly 587 foot-pounds of energy, comparable to a 4-inch .357 revolver. You'll most commonly see it in premium 1911s with ramped barrels built to handle the strain. Some custom gun builders who work with .38 Super also dabble in this caliber. Winchester brass is a must since it's extra thick and built to withstand the pressure. If you reload, watch for any bulging. It's not a beginner's cartridge. Factory ammo is scarce and expensive, often topping $2 per round. So many shooters roll their own. Even though it's rare, the 9x23 Winchester packs serious punch in a familiar feeling frame and is still one of the most underrated rounds out there. 9x25 Dillon. Back in the day, 9x25 Dillon was the darling of competition shooters. Born in the 1980s by necking down a 10mm case, Dillon Precision cooked it up to dominate IPSC major power factor. The round was all about speed, and man, did it deliver. Folks used to joke that the muzzle blast actually pushed the barrel downward. Typical loads use bullets from 90 to 125 grains, with companies like Underwood and Double Tap offering 95-grain screamers that push past 2,000 feet per second. Recoil is snappy, and the fireball out the front is no joke. The easiest platform is the Glock Model 20 with a drop-in barrel. Custom 1911s and 2011 frames have also been built for it, though they need precise chamber support and tuning. Ammo's not cheap, about $1 per round if you can find it. Many reloaders make their own by forming brass from 10mm cases, but bottleneck cartridges like this can be tricky to reload properly. Once the competition rules changed, interest dropped off. Still, for shooters chasing insane velocity in a semi-auto, the 9x25 Dillon remains a wicked option that never fails to impress. 45 Super. A lot of people have no clue how much power the 45 Super brings to the table. Think of it as a beefed-up 45 automatic Colt pistol. It shares the same outside dimensions but uses stronger brass and runs pressures up to about 28,000 pounds per square inch. That gives it energy levels you'd expect from Magnum revolvers, all while using a standard-size semi-automatic. Loads generally use bullets between 185 and 255 grains, flying at speeds from around 1,100 to over 1,200 feet per second. Muzzle energy can top 600 foot-pounds, easily surpassing vanilla 45 auto. Converting mini pistols like certain Glocks or classic 1911s just takes a stiffer recoil spring and sometimes a fully supported barrel. You can do the whole upgrade for a few $100, and the result is a hard-hitting setup perfect for defense or even hunting. A lot of folks like pairing the 45 Super with a suppressor for nighttime hog hunts, and its power is more than enough for medium-sized game. Factory loads aren't widely available, but companies like Buffalo Bore and Underwood keep it alive, usually selling for about $1.30 to $1.50 a round. Despite being underappreciated, the 45 Super is a powerhouse for anyone who wants serious performance out of a familiar platform. 40 Super. Back in the year 1996, the 40 Super looked like it had all the right ingredients to become a game changer, but it faded almost as quickly as it arrived. Triton Cartridge Company introduced it with the help of Tom Berchinski, the same mind behind legendary hollow points like Hydra Shock and Quick Shock. They started with strengthened 45 Super brass, necked it down to 40 caliber, then stretched the casing to match 10mm length. The result? A scorching fast bottleneck cartridge that could push a 135 grain bullet to an eye-watering 1,800 feet per second. That kind of velocity left the standard 45 automatic Colt pistol in the dust when it came to both energy and reach. For a time, it had industry support. SIG Arms showed some interest, and Barstow even made drop-in barrels for Glock Model 21 pistols. To put its power in perspective, a 200-grain projectile from the 40 Super could strike harder at 100 yards than a 45 auto does right at the muzzle. That's no small feat. Unfortunately, Triton closed its doors not long after, and with that, the caliber drifted into obscurity. Double Tap and Underwood still load it today, but you're looking at a price tag of about $1.50 to $2 per round. Factory handguns are no longer in production, and those conversion barrels disappeared when Barstow shut down their older tooling. Still, if you enjoy collecting rare calibers or want near 10mm power with even more performance, the 40 Super is worth chasing down. It delivered exceptional ballistic power, but never got the recognition it truly earned. 400 Corbin. The 400 Corbin popped onto the scene in the mid-1990s as a clever workaround to achieve near 10mm speed from a 45 automatic Colt pistol platform with only a barrel swap required. Designers took the 45 auto casing and necked it down to 40 caliber, creating a bottleneck cartridge that could match the 10mm in velocity. A typical load sends a 155 grain bullet downrange at about 1,250 feet per second, and lighter loads can even hit 1,300. That kind of zip gives you a flatter trajectory without punishing recoil. Many 1911 shooters loved it because they could drop in a new barrel and still use their original 45 magazines. Glock Model 21 users also had success with aftermarket barrels. The round feeds off the shoulder rather than the neck, which generally boosts reliability, although certain bullet shapes might still cause feeding issues if your magazines or springs are out of spec. Companies like Corbon and Buffalo Bore occasionally offer factory-loaded ammo, but expect to pay between $1.50 and $2 per shot, and don't count on seeing it at your local shop. Reloaders enjoy working with it, especially since it behaves predictably, but you'll need to monitor shoulder spacing and pressure limits carefully. Despite its smart design and easy conversion path, the 400 Corbin fell out of favor largely due to the 10mm comeback and the firearms industry's limited support for such niche bottleneck rounds. Still, it remains a fascinating caliber for shooters who want magnum-like speed from their .45 frame. 50 GI. If you're into big-bore handguns but want something more civilized than a hand cannon, the 50 GI might just be your speed. Guncrafter Industries developed this unique cartridge for shooters who wanted a truly large-diameter round without dealing with excessive recoil or massive frames. The casing is roughly the same length as the .45 automatic Colt pistol and shares its rim size, but it's widened to accept a full half-inch bullet. You can convert a Glock Model 21 to fire 50 GI by swapping out the upper and using specialized magazines. That means you get the thrill of launching a 50 caliber slug from a pistol you already own. The numbers might not sound extreme. Typical 300 grain bullets cruise between 700 and 900 feet per second, but the magic is in the momentum and massive bullet diameter. The low pressure makes for a surprisingly tame shooting experience, especially with Guncrafter's carefully designed recoil system. Ammunition starts around $2 per round, and brass available only through Guncrafter runs about $60 per 100 cases. Bullet options are limited, since the overall cartridge length must fit into standard .45-sized magazines, but for what it is, the round delivers a substantial wallop. Most retailers don't carry it, which keeps the 50 GI largely in the shadows, but if you want that 50 cal fun in a standard-size semi-auto, this is one of the very few ways to do it comfortably. 9mm Largo. Veteran shooters from Spain or parts of Europe might remember the 9mm Largo, but in the United States, this cartridge has nearly vanished. The round stretches the 9mm to a case length of 23mm and, in its military configuration, fires a 125 to 138 grain projectile at about 1,100 feet per second or more. Spanish service pistols like the Star Model A and the Star Super used it for decades, where it served faithfully in armed forces and police units. The 9mm Largo carried more punch than the 9mm Luger and often approached the energy of the .38 Super, all while maintaining soft recoil. In the early 2000s, many surplus Spanish handguns chambered in this round were imported into the US, but ammunition availability remained low. Starline and a few boutique outfits still produce brass now and then, but you'll rarely see it on store shelves, and when you do, expect to pay more than $1 per round. Reloading is possible, but it requires dedicated Largo brass due to its unique dimensions. A common issue was confusion between this round and others, like the 9mm Luger or .38 Super. Some folks tried to chamber the wrong ammo, often damaging the firearm and giving the 9mm Largo a bad reputation. Despite that, it's a fascinating piece of military history, a round that once delivered superior performance over standard 9mm Luger, but never crossed the bridge into the American mainstream. It remains a niche caliber, perfect for collectors or those intrigued by early 20th century sidearms. 960 Rowland. If you have not heard of the 960 Rowland, you are not alone. It is one of those modern Magnum tier cartridges flying under the radar. Designed by the same team that introduced the 460 Rowland, this variant supercharges the standard 9mm format. Though it shares the same overall length, its case is lengthened, and the bullet is seated deeper, making room for more powder. With a simple conversion kit, a Glock 17 or Glock 19 can be transformed to handle this cartridge, and you can still run traditional 9mm through the same pistol. One of the hotter factory loads sends a 115-grain jacketed hollow point at speeds close to 1,600 feet per second, generating over 650 foot-pounds of energy out of a 6-inch barrel, well beyond what any 9mm plus P plus load offers. Pricing usually hovers above $1 per shot, with boxes of 50 often reaching $63. While not widely available, the sheer performance makes it a compelling option for those chasing Magnum-class energy in a familiar, high-capacity sidearm. 450 SMC. When it comes to overlooked heavy hitters in the .45 caliber family, the 450 SMC deserves more attention. A derivative of the .45 Super, this cartridge uses a small rifle primer to safely push pressures up to 32,000 pounds per square inch. That extra headroom allows it to surpass .45 automatic Colt pistol plus P performance significantly. Expect to see 230 grain bullets moving around 1,150 feet per second, or lighter loads, like 185 grain projectiles, clocking in at 1,350 feet per second. It is an ideal upgrade for those running modern Glock 21s or reinforced MNP 45s. Just swap in a heavier recoil spring and make sure your barrel has adequate chamber support. Double tap ammunition continues to produce it, usually priced between $1.25 and $2 per round. It is a wildcat at heart and never got mainstream backing, but those in the know swear by the power this round brings to classic .45 caliber pistols. 460 Rowland. For semi-auto fans who want to flirt with .44 Magnum territory, the 460 Rowland delivers in a big way. Originally created by Johnny Rowland in the late 1990s, it stretches the .45 automatic Colt pistol case just enough to prevent accidental chambering in unmodified firearms, while dramatically boosting chamber pressure, often hitting the 40,000 pounds per square inch mark. The result? Muzzle energy that can top 900 foot-pounds, more than double a standard .45 automatic Colt pistol load. It can sling a 230 grain bullet at 1,350 feet per second, or throw a hard-cast 300 grain projectile at 1,200 feet per second. Conversion kits exist for platforms like the Glock 21, MAP-45, or the classic 1911, and usually include a ported or compensated barrel to tame recoil and slide speed. While some wonder if .45 Super can match it, the Rowland system is more finely tuned and purpose-built. You can find factory loads from Underwood or Buffalo Bore for between $1.50 and $2 per shot, and Starline makes dedicated brass. Whether you are handgun hunting or looking for backcountry protection, the 460 Rowland offers enormous power in a proven semi-automatic package. There you have it, 10 lesser-known, or mostly forgotten pistol cartridges that hit harder than your average 9mm or .45 automatic Colt pistol. From the blistering velocity of the .40 Super to the thumping mass of the .50 GI, each of these rounds brought something bold to the table, just not always at the right time. Which one piqued your interest most? Do you own any pistols chambered in these rare calibers, or have you tried converting one? We want to hear your thoughts in the comments section. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the wild side of handgun cartridges, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to tap that bell icon so you never miss another episode. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.